Welcome to Honeybee. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Real stories of love, lies, and betrayal, where every truth stings. Let's begin. My name is Zane. The night my wife laughed in my face when I tried to be intimate with her was the moment our marriage truly ended. It would take me several more months to officially file for divorce, but her cruel laughter that evening was the breaking point. I had spent hours setting up a romantic evening for us, hoping to reignite some spark between us. Her laughter wasn't just a rejection. It was ridicule, humiliation, and the undeniable proof that whatever love and respect we once shared had completely vanished. Looking back, I can see now that our marriage had been unraveling for years. But like so many people stuck inside a failing relationship, I had been making excuses, convincing myself things would get better, and refusing to face the truth about what we had become. Elena and I had been married for 6 years when that devastating night happened. 6 years that started with real love and hope, but over time, turned into something that felt more like a partnership of convenience than a romantic union. In the beginning, everything had felt right. We met through mutual friends in our late 20s, both of us secure in our careers, both looking for something meaningful. Elena worked at a small agency downtown, while I provided the financial stability that allowed us to rent a house and plan for the future we thought we wanted. During our dating years and the early part of our marriage, we had both physical and emotional closeness. We laughed together, enjoyed each other's company, and seemed to share the same vision of marriage. Mutual support, shared responsibilities, and building a life side by side. But around our 4th year of marriage, I started noticing subtle shifts in Elena's behavior. They were so gradual that I brushed them off as normal changes that come with married life, not realizing they were symptoms of a deeper problem. She became less interested in spending time with me, less responsive to physical affection, and increasingly distant. Our physical relationship, which had once been natural and fulfilling, began to fade. Elena started turning me down more often, always with believable excuses. Stress from work, headaches, exhaustion, or simply not being in the mood. At first, I accepted those explanations. I understood that work pressures and daily life can take a toll on intimacy. I assumed her job had become more demanding as she advanced in her career, but as her refusals became more frequent and her excuses more elaborate, I began to wonder if there was a deeper reason. She would claim to have headaches lasting days, say work stress made her too tense to relax, or just bluntly state she wasn't in the mood without giving any sense of when things might change. What made it all worse was the contrast between her attitude toward me and the energy she put into everything else. She would spend hours getting ready for nights out with friends, look stunning for work events, and keep an active social media presence, clearly showing she still had energy for things that mattered to her. But at home, she would slip into old sweatpants, check out emotionally, and go through the motions of being a wife without any real effort or enthusiasm. Her phone became another wedge between us. She spent more and more time texting, scrolling, and having long conversations with people she never identified. When I asked, she gave vague, dismissive answers. I tried to suppress my suspicion, not wanting to become controlling or paranoid. Instead of confronting her, I doubled down on my efforts to revive our relationship. I planned special dates, bought thoughtful gifts, and tried to recreate the romantic moments that had brought us together in the first place. But my efforts seemed to irritate her more than they moved her. She'd thank me politely, but her appreciation felt hollow, forced, like she was performing the role of a grateful wife without actually feeling anything. Her indifference made me feel desperate, like I was begging for scraps of affection from someone who had already emotionally checked out. The harder I tried, the clearer it became that she was gone, at least emotionally, even if she hadn't said out loud yet. The breaking point came one evening when I went all out to create what I hoped would be a beautiful, romantic night. I left work early, cooked her favorite dinner, set the table with candles and flowers, opened her favorite wine, and even made a playlist of songs that had meaning for us. When Elena walked in, she looked surprised and said it looked nice. We ate, and I tried to start a heartfelt conversation, asking about her feelings and thoughts on our marriage. Her responses were polite but distant, like she was just checking a box, not actually connecting with me. After dinner, I suggested we sit in the living room, hoping the wine, music, and atmosphere might bring back some intimacy we had lost. I was patient for months, but that night I was silently begging for a spark of closeness, physical or emotional. When I sat beside her and gently touched her, hoping to lead toward intimacy, her reaction cut me to the core. She didn't just reject me, she laughed, a sharp, mocking laugh that made it clear she found the idea of intimacy with me laughable. She told me she wouldn't let me sleep with her, saying it in a tone that made me feel small, pathetic, and unwanted. The humiliation hit me like a punch. It wasn't just a no, it was cruelty. In that moment, I realized it wasn't just about lack of desire. She had lost respect for me. I sat there, stunned, unable to speak, while she casually went back to scrolling on her phone as though nothing had happened. That hurt almost as much as the laughter itself. The indifference, the lack of apology. I lay awake for hours that night, realizing that our problem wasn't just stress or mismatched schedules. It was her contempt, her utter lack of respect for me as a husband. Her reaction showed me that she didn't just not want me, she found my desire for her ridiculous. In the days that followed, I began to withdraw completely. I stopped trying to initiate intimacy, stopped planning dates, stopped making an effort to start meaningful conversations. I worked later, ate alone, and started sleeping in the guest room. Elena didn't fight these changes. If anything, she seemed relieved to have the space. Quietly, I began preparing for divorce. I consulted a lawyer who explained that because we had no children and our finances were simple, the process would be straightforward if we could agree on terms. He also advised me to document Elena's behavior, so I began keeping records, saving texts, and writing a timeline of our decline. It was painful but clarifying. Seeing it all laid out made it impossible to keep pretending things would get better. After a few weeks, Elena noticed my complete withdrawal. Her first reaction wasn't worry. It was irritation. She complained that I was distant and moody, clearly expecting me to start chasing her again like before. But this time, I didn't explain myself, didn't fight, didn't plead. Finally, on a quiet Sunday in December, she confronted me again. Instead of apologizing or promising to try harder, I calmly told her I wanted a divorce. The words came easily, without anger, just the truth. Elena was shocked. The woman who had laughed at my need for closeness 2 months earlier was now begging me not to leave. She said she hadn't meant to hurt me, promised we could fix things, even suggested counseling and romantic trips. But her tears and pleading didn't move me, because if she truly loved and respected me, she would never have mocked me in the first place. And if she truly felt remorse, she wouldn't have needed the threat of divorce to see how damaging her behavior had been. I told her plainly that I had given everything I could to our marriage, and her contempt had killed it. Her promises of change came too late. She kept trying for weeks, crying, begging, threatening about the financial and social cost of divorce. But none of it mattered. I had reached the point of no return. 8 months later, our divorce was finalized. Elena still sent me messages, expressing regret and promising she'd do better if I gave her another chance. But by then, I knew she still didn't understand. She thought this was about effort and communication, not the deep lack of respect that had poisoned everything. When the divorce was official, I felt both grief and relief. Sadness of the love I had lost, but freedom from the pain of being humiliated in my own marriage. That experience taught me that disrespect can destroy a marriage faster than almost anything, even infidelity. Elena's cruel laughter was as damaging as an affair would have been, maybe worse. I learned that love without respect cannot survive, and that anyone who laughs at your need for connection is someone you can't trust with your heart. Walking away was painful, but it gave me my dignity back, and eventually my happiness. Her laughter, which once crushed me, became the moment that set me free.